Now, as I make my right, everybody, particularly on my right-hand side, you watch this wall. You're going to see a cut in this wall. Look way up there. You should be able to see all the way to the top of that steeple. Over 230 feet high. There we go. Bear with me just a second. That is not a parking place right there on that corner, so it makes it a little tight when we go around here. Now, look over to my right, this house with a big old pillar. It's called the Barrow House. Well, what's neat is the fence along the street line. If you look at it, it's all cast iron. If you look between these cars, you're going to see there's medallions on there. Now, the medallions are either of our presidents or famous poets of the era. You're going to see a lot of cast iron with me throughout the day. But some of the neat stuff to really look for, if you look over to my right, you're going to see a gate. Now look behind that gate. You'll see one of those beautiful gardens. Now they're situated behind most of the big houses in town. Also, look at the downspout. Come all the way down to the sidewalk. That's a cast iron dolphin. On my left, there he is, guys. That is the founder of the city of Savannah in the state of Georgia. That's General James Oglethorpe himself. Now they got him all decked out in his military regalia. Every military figure you'll see with me throughout the day will always be facing towards his enemy. In this case, he's facing south, towards the Spanish in Florida. Also on my right, the Sixpence Pub. Great little restaurant, but it became very famous here in Savannah because it was featured in a movie. That movie was called Something to Talk About. It's right there that Julia Roberts looked in that window and saw her husband, who is being played by Dennis Quaid, sitting in there having dinner with the other woman. You saw that movie with our good rest of the movie before old minutes. And we make a ton of movies here. You know, we made Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. We also made a great history movie, Glory. Ladies, we made Magic Mike right here in Savannah. And for those of you who are young at heart, we made SpongeBob SquarePants. On my right, the Morse Building, the very first Ford Motor dealership in all of Savannah. Guys, stay seated for me. This is our see the guy that held the flag throughout the entire siege of Savannah. That's the second bloodiest battle in the whole Revolutionary War. He was actually killed with that flag in his hand. We honor him to the point he is the only non-commissioned officer to have a monument erected to them anywhere in this city. By the way, guys, he is buried right underneath his own monument. On my left is the Green Military House. Now, this is where Sherman had his headquarters when he occupied Savannah. And there he came up with a very famous note that he sent to Lincoln. That note stated, "I present you Savannah as an Atlanta." He burned down Hamlets, he burned down plantations, working his way to Savannah. Sherman's famous march to the sea. Its ultimate destination had always been Savannah. He needed to take over this fort to be able to resupply all the troops here in the south. We're on Jones Street. This is the only day of the year of the week that we come on this street. This is actually our most beautiful walking street in the city. I'll show you a better view of it a bit later on. Margaret Telfair gave us the money for this. She gave us the money in honor of her husband, William Hudson. Mr. Hudson's the man who gave us the first 10 acres of Forsyth Park. Everything you see on my left of the trees on it, he gave to us. Today, as I said before, Forsyth Park is a 30-acre park. There's 10 acres plus two 10-acre great lawns here at the back. But do look to my right. You'll see these beautiful Victorian homes. This is the only place in Savannah you'll see this kind of architecture. The reason is we had 3 major fires in what's the historic district, burned down almost all the wooden homes. But those fires never made their way this far south. We're able to see the vast majority of the Victorian district. That stretches back 2 or 3 blocks all the way around. Look over to my left. This is one of the 2 10-acre great lawns. These used to be the old military training grounds. Well, obviously, we don't have any military training here anymore. That's where those young urbanites from Scan High School get away from mom and dad, classrooms, get a little sun on their face, get a little big sky. Now, if this was a really... I told you a little bit about a live oak tree, but look over to our left. A live oak tree will grow for over 150 years, stabilized, same amount of time, slowly deteriorate another minimum of 150 years. This tree is at least 300 years old. It was here during the Civil War, Revolutionary War, and we know it was here when Oglethorpe landed because he used it as a point of reference in the original map that he had drawn on the city of Savannah. Now look at this tree. Look at all that stuff hanging down from it. It's called Spanish moss. It's neither Spanish nor is it moss. It's actually a derivative of the pineapple plant. It's an airborne plant. Gets all of its moisture and humidity in the air and its sustenance from dust that floats around the air. That doesn't harm the tree at all. It's just hanging on. But there is a word of warning. Spanish moss on that tree is fine, but once it hits this ground, it attracts a little bug. That bug's called a chigger. If you don't know what a chigger is, you don't want to find out. You'll be scratching for about 2 weeks. The worst thing you do is pick it up. A lot of people do. Pick it up, throw it in their luggage, go take it home with that little souvenir. A wise idea. Now we're going to make a left here. I'm going to take you down to one street. I'm going to show you 3 houses, all by the same architect. His name is Alfred Eichberg. He is a big deal here in Savannah. You'll understand why when I get you in there. Now, the very first house will be across the street here on my right. We call it the polychrome or 3-color house. Right there. Eichberg used different colors of brick, put them in strange patterns. That was always just to accentuate the architectural details of that house. Now, the second house he built on this very same street. It's going to be coming up on our right on the corner. It's called the Macmillan Inn. The Macmillan brothers of the Copper family, they commissioned Eichberg to do this one. Much more sophisticated design. Beautiful Queen Anne towers at the top. The third house Eichberg did on the same street is an amalgamation of the first 2. Again, it's on my right. That is the Tiedemann house. There he used different colors of stone and brick. Kept those beautiful Queen Anne towers, even in those beautiful bow windows. This house became so famous that he got to commission every architect in town wanted. He is the architect of record for the entire Central Georgia Railroad Complex. Here for 8 years thereafter. There's no slavery in this state. Moving on, we can stop by, but I'm going to close it. The second great prohibition, there would be no hard liquor in this state. Beer and wine were fine, but brandy, rum, and gin, no. Third was really quite peculiar, guys. No lawyers, no attorneys of any kind were allowed in the state of Georgia. He said his citizens should be able to speak for themselves. They get up in front of a bailiff, the friends can help them, but no lawyers. Last but certainly not least, no Catholics were allowed in Georgia. Now, he had no hatred for the Catholic faith. But if you remember who was down in Florida, those were the Spanish. Been down there close to 100 years, 100% Catholic. And in case of war, Oglethorpe didn't want his citizenry to have any divided loyalties. So he took the path of least resistance and banned them. By the way, that is the longest standing of all the bands. On my left is Whitfield Square, named for the Reverend George Whitfield. Only about 7 years after forming this colony, he started a little thing called the Bethesda Orphanage. Still exists today. It's the Bethesda Academy for Young Men. As you're walking down, you'll see a plaque in front of it, tell you when it was built. So I'm going to tell you who actually owned it originally and who the architect was. It's really a great stroll through history. We're coming into Troop Square, named for George McIntosh Troop. He was a governor here in Georgia. A real interesting thing, this is the only square in town was ever named for a living person. In the middle of it out there, you're going to see a round thing. It's called an armillary sphere. That's really nothing but a fancy word for a sundial. It's a good-looking sundial, and it does have that one tiny problem. The minimum a sundial needs, guys, is a little bit of sun. They didn't think so. They planted big live oak trees all around it. Live oak trees don't lose their leaves. No sun, no sundial. Pretty piece of sculpture, though. Look down the pathway here on my left. See that tall black box? This is where we have the blessing of the animals each year. One of our mayors gave us that. That's actually a water fountain for our little dogs when we bring them down. On my left, the church over here is the Unitarian Universalist Church. But we here in Savannah call it the Jingle Bell Church. They had a young choir director there by name James Fairpoint. And from there he came up with that ditty there she named Marmaduke Hamilton. Now, he was an alderman here in Savannah. He's the guy that wrote the first fire codes. The way that bell worked is they ring it one time for a fire in square number 1, 10 square 10, 24 times square 24. She started that little thing called the Girl Scouts. Now we get a ton of Girl Scout troops coming through here. There's 2 stops they always make. That house back there is the first of the birthplace. But the last stop they make is the Andrew Lowe house. Because in the back of it is where Julie and Gordon Lowe held the very first Girl Scout meeting. That's reason enough to stop there. But there's another good reason. That's the only place we know of you can buy Girl Scout cookies 12 months out of the year. So for sure, they stop there. And Mary, the lady of stipulations, became the sole surviving heir. The original home into Ellis Square. More restaurants, but some beautiful art galleries, as well as some of the best antique stores in the town around there. Coming up on Bay Street. Now this is the original street in all of those 2 buildings is the one and only elevator actually to at 43. We're coming into Johnson Square. Now this is the largest of all the squares in the city. In the middle of it, though, you're going to see a monument to General Nathaniel Greene. General Greene was the second in command to Washington throughout the entire Revolutionary War. In appreciation for all of his help, General Washington gave General Greene a big plantation about 8 miles upriver from here called Mulberry Grove Plantation. General Greene was a Rhode Island. He really wasn't that familiar with the heat and humidity we have down here, particularly in the month of August. One August day, he went out right, going to inspect that plantation, but he forgot his hat. Not a good idea. He suffered a heat stroke.